Well, hey, good evening, morning, afternoon. I'm a little confused because I don't normally come on at this time. Actually, it is about 2 p.m. where I'm at, and I'm actually glad to be coming on at this time. I'm coming on at this time. Usually I come on in the evening. The reason why is because we have our 301 class tonight, and I want to make sure that I leave enough time for us not to feel rushed in our 301 class. And I thought it would be interesting to try out coming on earlier at this time of the day. I know we have a little bit of an audience that's built in our evening time, so I'm sort of anticipating less of an audience here. And I want to say thank you to everybody who is tuning in on a rewatch too, because I know that there's going to be several people tuning in for a rewatch. But I thought, might as well give it a go. Try a different time slot at least today, because we have, if you've been a part of the channel, you know what I'm talking about. We have a thing called 301 class where I've been teaching different biblical principles. And then today we're all the way up to the third iteration of that. So anyways, I'm excited to be here with you at this time of the day. And I don't know, since it's such a special time, it's our first time going, maybe you could really help me out today. Maybe be extra supportive of the channel in different ways today. One of those ways is just by hitting the like button on the video. That shoots us out into the YouTube algorithm. And that's a great way to help get us started. Another thing that you can do, if you haven't done so already, I just want to send an invitation to you to subscribe to this channel. And we need all the subscribers we can get. I promise you, we're going to have great content for you. We're going to be consistent in that content. We're going to give you a fair and balanced approach as we look at different angles from different perspectives on matters involving a lot of missing cases right now. It seems to be what we're focused on. And so definitely want to just extend all of those invitations to you. And I want to say a special shout out to all the people in the Feller fam. What a great community of people that we have here. And especially all of those blue flag members. That means you've been with us for 3 months. I myself am only a purple flag member, which means I've been here for 2 months. And I want to say welcome to all of the red flag members. You've been here for 1 month, and everybody who's just getting started on the Feller fam journey. Thank you so much for doing that. And well, it happened. It was really great. It happened today. I got something in the mail from Michelle Lamont, and I'm just so grateful, Michelle. Let me show some of it. I haven't had time to use it yet, but I was mentioning that I have some different health problems, and one of the things the doctor said I need to be drinking alkaline water. She sent me an alkaline water picture. That's so incredible. I'm grateful for that. And then she also sent me this light camera, a selfie LED ring light, which is great because I have one, but you really just need to have more than one if you do that. But I needed a smaller one that was portable, so I can use it whenever I'm traveling. And I have quite a bit of travel days coming up for various reasons. So thank you, Michelle, for sending that. And then she sent a shock mount, which is going to come in handy. So I just want to say thank you. I know a lot of people have asked about how they can send something to me. My address is actually in the description. And so if you send out to that address, that's really a great way to do that if you're interested in sending something. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying if you're interested. Hey, let me know too, where are you tuning in from? Very interested. I have a general feel whenever we do these streams normally of where people are tuning in from. Where are you tuning in from today? And I'm coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee. I think it's about 40 degrees today, maybe a little warmer, 45 degrees maybe today, which is, I don't know, it's great temperature. Great. It definitely beats the cold weather that we had before. Avery, I got to pull up I don't see the member chats unless I pull up my iPad. So I just happened to see it. You said, Tyler, I invited a friend, Tani. She's suffering from the same ailments as you in Nashville. She got accepted into a long COVID hospital there. That's great. I'm glad for her. I tried to get accepted into the long COVID hospital here. They did not accept me, unfortunately, but I did get accepted into Mayo Clinic. And so that's a blessing. And I hate that she's dealing with that. Nevada, what's up, Misty? Devon, Pennsylvania, Southwest Virginia, Northport, Alabama. Were you upset, all you Roll Tide Bama fans, last night that the Georgia Bulldogs pulled it out? St. Louis, Massachusetts, Idaho, Kentucky, Indiana, East Texas, Idaho, Tennessee, North Dakota, North Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina. Ooh, a snowstorm in Canada. North Carolina. Great to see you guys. California, Albuquerque on your lunch break. Hayden, Alabama, Chicago, Illinois, Michigan, Arkansas in the house, Canada, Central Florida, Montreal. Christy says, I work at Mayo. Which Mayo clinic do you work at? Because I'm supposed to go to the one in Arizona. was kind of expensive to even go there. So I'm like on the fence about even going because I know it's going to cost a lot of money to travel all the way to Arizona for a week. Arizona, Chicago, Michigan, Columbus, Ohio, Hey from Germany, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Caribbean, Michigan, Netcong, New Jersey, Arizona. Great to see you guys tuning in. Cat Case says, we're not happy at all, but roll tide. I really think that Nick Saban could run for the governor of Alabama and they would vote him in. Like, I have no doubt in my mind. I'm pretty sure he got like 8,000 votes for president one year from folks in Alabama. And I think that there's going to be a lot of love for him, even despite the fact that even despite the fact that they lost. Second place is still not bad, you know? Second place is still not bad. Wow. Denisha tuning in from Washington State. Well, I'm excited to have the conversation with you. I want to talk about Jason Landry. And I want to be very respectful, especially whenever we talk about Jason Landry, because a couple of reasons. One, his father has become somewhat of a friend of mine. Obviously, we have similar profession, and so we're able to connect on that way. And my heart breaks for this family. And some of the information that was just released last night, which I had this little inkling in me last night while we were on the stream, that was like, you need to look up Jason Landry. And I was like, well, I was in the middle of the stream. I just didn't feel like trying to sort out information while I'm on the stream last night talking to people. But when I got done with the stream, I searched Jason Landry and I was like literally shocked at the information that we saw, because a lot of the questions that we were having about this case were resolved. Maybe it would be helpful if I want to play a video from a couple of weeks ago where we didn't know as much information, and then I'll backtrack and play the information where the new information was released. That way, if you're not up to speed, you can be brought up to speed. Oh, hang on. I went to the wrong window. Okay, here we go. All right. So I'm going to play this video. It's just a short video, but it's going to help bring us up to speed if you're not up to speed on Jason Landry. And then what we'll do is we'll play the newer video that has a lot of really shocking information, in my opinion, especially based on what we knew publicly before. Again, this is a family that are Christians. We need to continue to pray for them and hope that they find answers. And you guys might remember whenever Kent Landry was on the stream with us, man, he had just such a great outlook. Like you could tell he has Christ in him because of the way that he was responding to what they're having to deal with horrifically. So let me go ahead and play this. This is an update video. And then, like I said, we'll get into the new information that just broke.
21-year-old Jason Landry is still looking for answers.
It's been a year since the Texas State student disappeared while heading home to Missouri City for Christmas break. Our Zach Lashway is joining us now with details on a vigil for Landry tonight and an emotional conversation, Zach, that you had with his father.
Yeah, Day 365, a day Jason Landry's family hoped would be different. Perhaps by now they would be reunited with their son. Instead, they're still searching, looking for clues on where he could be. Here's his father, Pastor Kent Landry, on life 1 year later.
Hello, my name is Jason Landry, and I'm currently a sophomore at Texas State.
A few videos and hundreds of photos is all the Landry family has of their youngest child, Jason.
As a dad, I'm blessed. I mean, because I have memories. I have wonderful memories. It's just hard when you're sitting here thinking all you'll have of that child is memories.
Jason was passing through Caldwell County on his way home for Christmas break.
It was the night of December 13th when he left. He was in Luling at 11:30 p.m. on the 13th. His car was found at 12:30 a.m. on the 14th.
Jason's car was found totaled, the keys still in the ignition. His cell phone was lodged between the driver's seat and center console. His wallet was inside the vehicle, his clothes scattered outside the car. But there was no sign of Jason.
People ask me, what do I think happened? I'm like, I don't have the slightest idea.
Inside his office at Southminster Presbyterian Church, Pastor Kent Landry updates me on his son's missing persons case.
The Attorney General's office is in the process of forming a cold case division. We would love for them to take it on.
Kent says he hopes investigators will secure a geofence warrant.
We'd kind of, I think, help resolve the simple issue, was someone else involved or not.
This warrant gathers data from any devices in the vicinity of a crime, but this requires law enforcement to swear they believe a crime took place.
I don't believe that's from law enforcement, Caldwell County Sheriff's Office viewpoint at this point, that they do not believe that.
Every once in a while, Kent drives to Luling to the spot where Jason's car was found.
I just feel the need to go out there, and part of it might be the need to be with them, but more it's just to look, just in case.
Is today a day you dread?
It's going to be hard. There's like a hole in your heart because, and you can't move on. We can't grieve. We're just in limbo. We're stuck.
Faith is what gives the Landrys hope to be reunited with their son.
And we know that if Jason has passed, and almost certainly he has, just given the circumstances, we know he's in heaven, and I will see him again. We will all see him again.
The last significant search was completed in late October, early November. On behalf of the Landry family, Kent says they are thankful for all the efforts made by the community. Tonight at 7, there will be a prayer vigil on the front lawn of Southminster Presbyterian Church. The family is asking you keep Jason and his loved ones in your thoughts and prayers during this.
So that was a video that played on December 14th, about a month ago. And at that time, there's a lot of questions that we were having. Like, you know, I don't know, just there was a lot of questions out there. And I'm sure that as you watch that, if you're new to the case, there are certain things that you're thinking about and you're like, yeah, those are definitely major questions in my mind. By the way, did you guys like the super sticker that I sent? I don't really get a chance to do it very often. And so I thought I would, I think it's a little bit counterproductive, but it does go into the nonprofit Telefiller Ministries. And so I wanted to send it. I hope you guys liked it. I thought it was a cool one. Anyways, so I wanted an opportunity to share with you just sort of an overview of what was going on in the case. And then I had a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions about what may or may not have happened. And so I want to play for you then the video that was just released yesterday, where definitely there's some more information that was released. And this is by the Fox 7 Austin. And this is never before seen footage. And I'm hoping that they continue to release more. And they just give us a little glimpse of some stuff, but it makes me realize, like, yeah, they're working really hard on this case. They're doing a really good job working hard on this case.
State student Jason Landry. He was last seen in December of 2020 before driving back to his parents' Houston area home.
Tonight, we have never before seen video and police audio never played in public. Fox 7 Austin's Shannon Ryan has the latest on the ongoing investigation in tonight's Crime Watch.
Hello, how may I help you? Yes, ma'am. I can let you know it's John with Southeast. I just come off of 1322 on the Salt Flat Road, and I'm about, I'm going to say 5 or 6 miles off of the highway, and I just come up on a vehicle that's in a ditch, and it appears that it's going to be he hit a fence.
On the side of a dark gravel road in Luling's oil field, headlights. The driver, 21-year-old Jason Landry, gone. Down the street,
that's a volunteer firefighter's truck.
A volunteer firefighter makes a strange discovery. Jason stripped naked, his clothes, belongings strewn on Salt Flat Road.
There's a toiletry bag. It's got some face cream, a little beard brush.
Captain Jeff Ferry of the Caldwell County Sheriff's Office.
That's Sparky. Sparky is Jason's beta.
Has spent hours analyzing videos like this.
Probably a college kid.
So it looks like right.
Oh my goodness.
Small amount of marijuana. The Jason Landry case is certainly a mystery, right? And it's almost a twofold mystery. Like, what happened to Jason Landry? Where is Jason Landry now?
The Texas State student disappeared on December 13th, 2020, driving from San Marcos to his hometown.
All signs point to us that he is under the influence. And we know that he's going to get in the car and try to navigate his way to Missouri City. Where his parents are not expecting him. He was not due home. He was going to hang out with buddies, play video games, and get high.
Jason FaceTiming one of those friends ahead of the trip, His friend screen recording the conversation.
When Jason's friend thought he was planning on meeting Jason later and thought, man, Jason's so high right now, he's not going to remember what he's saying. And
Jason seen on video rolling the same joints a state trooper would recover from his backpack just hours later.
But we can just see how saturated his armpits are. He's extremely sweaty. He's indoors, and he's sweating from just sitting down. You know, we're 30 minutes into the video, and he's sweated through his shirt. Certainly seems relevant, knowing that in less than an hour, Jason's going to be disrobing in a very cold, austere environment.
The screen recording does not have audio, forcing Ferry to rely on Jason's friend's recollection of the conversation.
They're talking about spiritual awakening and enlightenment and opening his third eye and their drug consumption.
That conversation, Ferry says, is consistent with Jason's internet activity in the minutes leading up to his disappearance.
He's Googling, how long can you live in the woods without food? You know, how long can you go in the wilderness? He's looking up some spiritual enlightenment practices. He's looking up different strains of marijuana and different how to combine those. He's looking up different and he's talking about psychedelics and how they have impacted his life and his perception of spiritual awakeness.
Looking at Jason's digital footprint.
Again, when we look at for this map, the yellow is our Snapchat data, the blue or the teal here is our Waze data.
Ferry doesn't believe anything nefarious happened to him.
And this is pretty consistent travel. I mean, he doesn't stop.
Still, searches have come up dry.
The belief at this point is that he's just out there, and that's frustrating, right? Because it is, there's a lot of land.
That's why Ferry says the sheriff's office is sharing these phone calls, videos, and other data with Fox 7. Hoping to generate new interest and leads. Jason's family is now left with their own questions.
If for any individual, myself included, you or anyone else, and the government felt it was appropriate to release our weirdest searches that we ever Googled in recent time, what would it look like for each of us? It would probably look pretty odd. So that would be my question is, why would you do that?
Shannon Ryan, Fox.
Seems like he's not very happy about that. And I understand that. I understand that he wouldn't be happy about them releasing the weirdest Google searches that his son ever did to the public. Like that's why I said I'm going to be very respectful to Kent and the family about that. I don't want to disrespect them about even covering this case. And so I hope they don't feel disrespected at all by us doing this. But there were some unanswered questions that we had, irregardless to the Google searches that they put out into the public for us to be able to see. And some of that included, we were wondering, his armpits were people were saying, well, was he super hot? Well, his armpits were incredibly sweaty in that, his friend felt like he was saying some things that were strange. And so he made a decision to, record the conversation. That made more sense because I had some question. And then he changed the shirt in front of his friend. That made more sense. Remember, I was like, isn't that weird? He'd be on FaceTime and would, change shirts while he's on FaceTime. But now it makes more sense. He's covered in sweat. So there's some things about it that initially weren't making sense to me, but began to make more sense after I watched that footage of that. Melissa, thank you for your super sticker. Kim, thank you for your super sticker. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Snowflake Tawny, thank you for becoming a part of the Feller fam. Welcome. I think you're going to love it. Are you Avery's friend? If you're Avery's friend, sorry that you're having to deal with some things that are difficult. But thank you for joining the Feller fam. I can relate to you on some of those. Here's some of that foot. I just want to just
Captain
kind of
Jeff
scroll back through and look at some of this video footage. And they, they're not playing the audio to this video, but they show him rolling a joint. And then I just don't appreciate. Yeah, I'm with the dad on that, where he's like, and then they have, here they have a map of all of the data of where he was driving. So it's like, it made me feel better in one sense that they were able to, it made me feel better in the sense that it feels like they're working really hard on trying to find answers for this. It made me feel upset on the other sense that as we're thinking about this, there's some private information that I know as a pastor personally, your whole life is public, and you don't want the dirty details of your family being public. I just thought about some of that information they release it's not good. Some, normal families can have things that are secret. They can have things that the whole world doesn't have to know about. Pastors live in a fishbowl, and it's very heartbreaking, to think that even the details of their son now the government decides to release to the public. Hey, Diane.
Hey, Tyler.
How are you?
I'm doing better.
Isn't it weird we're doing such a weird time for streaming?
I like it.
Yeah.
Usually you come on so late.
Yeah.
And then, my husband's up at 4 to get ready for work. And then my son comes in at 7 from work. So
I'll probably stream tonight still if we get done with our 301 class in time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this case?
Well, when, I've been following it, I have him and I have a lot of the other people that we were originally following. I have them on Google Alerts. So I see something about them every day. Excuse me. And I had done some researching myself back when we first started following Jason. And I came across a website that had some kids from the college talking, and they had alluded to drugs. Mm-hmm. And I just figured, well, his parents may or may not know, or it may or may not be true. So I just didn't say anything about it. But, since we've really been dedicated to this, I mean, Jen got us how many? 12,000
Yeah,
signatures?
we did get a lot of signatures on that
for the geofencing. And so, the people who've been here for 4 months, and by the way, the flags don't change at now. Like tomorrow is my anniversary, and
it'll change again at like 6 months. I think
6 months. Yeah,
it's up to 15,000 signatures
there
on
you
that.
go. So, and I shared it so many times, and I know everybody else did too. So, we were really kind of dug into this. And, at the time we were finding boy after boy after boy who was found without their clothes on, and usually in water. And so, it's right that we get this information. I'm surprised that they took a year. I'm hiding my blanket. I see you pulling your blanket up over your arms.
Yeah.
Mine's down here hidden.
Yeah.
But, it just explains a lot. And the stuff that he says when he's high is not necessarily what's in his heart. So his daddy I don't want him to be heartbroken over that, because, I had a brother who was an alcoholic, and he'd say the most stupid things when he was sober and sing every hymn that he ever remembered when he was, drunk. So, but the one thing that you didn't get to in that, and I think is quite interesting, is the sheriff is trying to work with the school to, they're going to try to trap the wild hogs in the area because they'll eat a body. And then they want to bring in cadaver dogs to see if the cadaver dogs can alert to an animal that might have eaten part of someone who had died. So that was quite interesting. So it looks like
They're trying really hard, which
it looks like they are, which I thought they were not.
It feels like, sometimes when we're talking about these cases, it's like, it's been a year. Why aren't they doing anything?
Yeah.
It's like, in one way, I hate that guy came out and said things publicly. It felt like didn't necessarily have to be said publicly. On the other hand, I appreciate the fact that you can definitely tell he's working really hard.
Yeah. Well, he really could have skipped over some of the content of what he was searching for, because the fact that he was looking into enlightenment and stuff had nothing to do with the
he could have said he was looking into spiritual things.
Yeah.
And he was looking into surviving in the wilderness.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't have to say exactly what it was.
Yeah. So, but I get frustrated because I still have our original list, and I've added to it since then. Everybody wants to follow like Summer Wells, and now this other little girl, and yet Michael Vaughn, who's 5 years old, went missing from his neighborhood, snuck out of the house while his daddy was doing something. His older siblings were in the house, and he went door to door after supper asking if so-and-so could come out and play. And there were 2 men on the street that didn't belong there. And he's been missing since July the 27th. And I wrote Jennifer Coffendorfer, and I said, why do they pick and choose? This kid's not even on the Amber Alert. And he comes from a nice family, sweet little subdivision. When the mother got home from work, because the father had called her immediately, the neighbors were out. All the houses had emptied. They're just out screaming his name, calling for him, looking everywhere. And he gets no coverage. So it frustrates me that some people get, like Jason, for a long time, all you could find was, well, it's been 114 days. It's, when it hit 365, that was a big deal, but not as much as some of the others that every day get coverage.
Yeah, I think that there are various reasons why certain cases get coverage. And there's a lot of scandalous aspects to the Summer Wells thing, which I've told you before is pretty much off limits on this channel from now on talking about. But I think that's why there's reasons why Gabby and Brian's went viral and others don't. And,
but the children, like Michael, there's no shock value.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's certainly hard.
Yeah. Well, it's really frustrating, but I do hope they find his body at some point so they can, have a memorial service and get complete closure. The dad's certainly a strong man. And
he's inspiring for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thanks for calling in, Diane. Hope you have a great day.
Tell everybody about tomorrow night and how they can watch it.
Yeah.
The interview?
Yeah, I am gonna be doing an interview on Channel 57 tomorrow. So if you guys live in Atlanta.
But it's on Facebook and their website.
Okay.
It's gonna be live. I talked to the producer today.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Diane.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Tammy, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, Tyler. I hope everybody out there is doing well. I had a thought looking at that FaceTime video and with Jason sweating so much. And I'm not in the medical field by any means, but it made me wonder if he perhaps had some sort of underlying medical condition that maybe he wasn't even aware of, and something that he smoked or took, concocted himself, blended, whatever, potentially had a reaction in his body to a medical condition, and it caused him to become confused, maybe shaky. He crashed the car, got out, didn't have any clue where he was at or what he was doing, wandered off into the woods, and who knows what happened then. But maybe this is completely accidental in that he had no clue that maybe something was going on in his body that reacted poorly to something that he took.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense in one sense that he was looking on taking specific strands of marijuana and mixing them together. On the other hand, he was Googling how to survive in the wilderness.
Well, yeah, that is true. Yeah. Again, it just made me wonder because, inside normally, you've got your AC and your heat and you can control the temperature and you don't generally just sweat that profusely. Again, and that's what just triggered me to think maybe something else was going on in his body that potentially, ties into the situation and maybe made it worse or, caused some sort of reaction that he wasn't even expecting.
Yeah,
So,
and somebody's saying, did he have type 1 diabetes? No, he did not. The dad confirmed that to us whenever we interviewed him.
yeah. And as always, I mean, my prayers go out to the family and I do continue to hold them up, just, for answers and of course for the peace of God to be with the family. So, anyway, my thoughts were just too long to type in a chat. So I figured I'd call in real quick, but I appreciate, everybody. And I appreciate you, Tyler, for giving me a moment.
Thank you, Tammy.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye. It is a heartbreaking case. And those of you who haven't signed the petition, we did sign a petition for them to get or we actually created the petition for them to get a geofence warrant. And the reason why that we were doing that is because I talked to Kent and he said, if we can figure out who else was in the location at the time, it's going to give us an indication of if there was somebody else involved. So many people are asking about why Summer Wells is banned. I just felt like the Lord told me not to cover that topic. That's it. And I'm not going to. I did it. I covered it one day. I'm not covering it again. I don't want to talk about it again on this channel. There's plenty of other channels that cover that topic. And so if you're interested in it, feel free to go to one of those channels. Yeah. So 15,000 people. I put the link to this in the chat. So if you're interested in doing that, signing the petition, then I want you to participate, sign the petition. It's going to help. It's going to help the family get a geofence warrant. Okay. Now I want to move on to Oxford High, the Oxford High shooting that took place involving Ethan Crumbley. Man, there's a picture of Ethan Crumbley and there's his parents, and all of which are in jail now. The prosecutors began to lay out evidence on Friday that suggests the parents knew that Ethan was gravely troubled even months before the shooting. And so he was having hallucinations. There was just a whole mess of things happening. I wanted to play a video where they talked about some of it.
Are learning a lot more about the Crumleys, about their son, Ethan. And for the first time, we're seeing the disturbing images, the pictures and the words that he allegedly drew right before the shooting. Take a look. Disturbing drawings on a math test that 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley allegedly made just hours before investigators say he opened fire inside Oxford High School on November 30th, killing 4 students and wounding 7 others. The Oakland County Prosecutor's Office submitting the drawings of a gun, a body, a bullet, and the words, "The thoughts won't stop, help me," into evidence in a motion filed in court Thursday. The motion is in response to James and Jennifer Crumbley's attorney's motion to lower their bond. James and Jennifer, the parents of Ethan, both being held on $500,000 bond, each charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter in connection with the Oxford school shooting. Prosecutors argue the defendants are a greater flight risk than they were at the time of the arraignment. Remember, a massive manhunt took place to find them when they failed to turn themselves in after warrants were issued. Prosecutors say the Crumleys are behind more than $11,000 on their house payments. Their house is currently for sale. Their horses have been sold, and prosecutors fear they will flee if they post bond. Furthermore, court documents state the Crumleys knew their son was depressed, that he was fascinated with guns, that he had been researching ammunition while at school and watching violent videos of shootings just hours before the Oxford school shooting. Early on in the investigation, we learned that the parents allegedly bought the gun for their son that police say was used in the shooting. Prosecutors say Ethan Crumbley's only friend moved away at the end of October. The family dog had died. Ethan was sadder than usual, sending his mother disturbing texts about his state of mind. But instead of paying attention to their son's mental and emotional needs, prosecutors say they bought him a gun on Black Friday, just 4 days before the shooting. Also submitted into evidence a copy of the math test with the disturbing words and pictures scribbled out, and words added: video game this is, harmless act, we are all friends here, I love my life so much. Now, the Oakland County Prosecutor's Office releasing this statement saying, quote, the facts laid out in the brief we submitted to the court today speak for themselves. And based on those facts, we strongly believe that the bond for James and Jennifer Crumbley was set appropriately, end quote. Now, of course, we did reach out to the Crumbley's attorneys. We text them, we called them. We have not heard back from them.
So what do you guys think about this case? According to Keist, evidence as far back as 2021 showed that 15-year-old Crumbley would text his mother when he was home alone to tell her he thought that there was a demon, a ghost, or someone else inside of the room. Keist alleges that similar texts were sent multiple times, and it would take Jennifer Crumbley hours to respond. And then the Oxford High shooter, it seemed like the school knew what was going on too. In fact, according to a new law called the Fieger Law, there's 11 counts added to Oxford school officials. So they filed two $100 million lawsuits that was first filed by Fieger Law on December 9th, and it included 2 counts of civil rights violations. On January 7th, the suit was refiled and now includes 2 counts of civil rights violations, Monell liability, and 8 counts of gross negligence, and 2 counts of intentional infliction of emotional distress / negligent infliction of emotional distress, and a violation of child protection law. The defendants include Oxford Community School, the superintendent, the principal, the dean of students, 2 counselors, a staff member, and 2 teachers. The suit claims that the defendants committed gross negligence causing serious and permanent emotional trauma. The plaintiffs include 2 sisters, a 14-year-old freshman, a 17-year-old senior. And the school states the 17-year-old shot in the back of the neck and the 14-year-old narrowly escaped the shooting. The suit adds the suspect of the shooting, Ethan Crumbley, allegedly had posted on his Twitter account the night before, "Now I become death, the destroyer of the worlds. See you tomorrow, Oxford." The lawsuit states that on November 11th, Crumbley brought a severed bird head in a mason jar with a yellow liquid to the high school, and he left it in the toilet paper dispenser at the school, which is horrific, right? In fact, when they looked at his phone and they were able to look all the way back to May 2021, it showed him torturing animals at his home. And he kept the head from a severed bird in there and tortured and mutilated it for over 6 months in this jar. James and Jennifer Crumbley's attorney argued that the parents were not aware that their son was torturing animals. However, Keist alleges that the bird head isn't the only evidence that was wide out in the open. Keist said that Ethan Crumbley had a Nazi coin that he bought on Amazon in plain view in his bedroom, and a notebook that appeared to be shared by all the family members that had Nazi symbols on it. Another notebook that was not hidden. Keist also noted that there is evidence Ethan Crumbley made Molotov cocktails at home. The evidence shows a 15-year-old who has repeatedly informed his parents that he was hallucinating. The same 15-year-old who continually demonstrated tendencies that were worrisome, all found by his parents. This is a horrific case, obviously. Additionally, Keist said a friend of Ethan Crumbley moved away in late October. He said that this had an impact. His parents obviously knew what had been directly told to them, but they did not intervene. They did not schedule therapy. And then in 2021, Ethan Crumbley is accused of texting a friend a photo of him holding one of James Crumbley's loaded gun with the message, "It's time to shoot up the school. JK, JK, JK." On November 26th, the video from an Oxford gun store showed Ethan and his father purchasing that 9mm that was used in the school shooting. Jennifer Crumbley made a social media post the next day about how she went to a shooting range with her son. And in the post, she said the gun was Ethan Crumbley's early Christmas present. He would regularly ask his parents to take him shooting. Crumbley's parents failed to have the gun secured at home, and they gave inconsistent statements about how that gun was secured. Neither James nor Jennifer Crumbley ever said that the gun was actually locked up. However, the attorneys for the Crumbley parents assert that the gun was hidden from the teen. In Ethan's journal, which was provided in discovery, he explicitly states that he has to find where his dad hid the firearm. This statement, in Ethan's own words, is contrary and false to misleading assertions that have been made by the prosecution in this case. The assertion that the firearm was freely made available to Ethan Crumbley. And then on the day of the shooting, officials previously shared that Ethan Crumbley was caught searching for ammo at the school. The day before the shooting, and hand-drawn violent images. On Friday, Keith said that the school staff performed a suicide risk assessment when those drawings were discovered. That's interesting that that's the thing they do, right? They find these incredible drawings that the teacher has a picture of, and they submitted a picture of that wasn't scribbled out. And basically, it's a picture of a gun, and it says, "Help me, these thoughts won't stop." And then, it was indicating that it was a very difficult thing, a very difficult time, and mentally, and that, he had some pretty bad things that they went and scribbled out. He went and scribbled out once the teacher found it, took a picture of it. So the first version of that document is much different than the second version. But either way, it's alarming. And it's interesting that instead of saying, like, do you think about harming other people? They're worried about him harming himself. He said the parents resisted taking their son home from school because they had to work. We later learned that Jennifer Crumbley's employer would have gladly given her the day off. I mean, that in retrospect, that's a thing to say. Yeah, we would have gladly gave you the day off so your son didn't shoot up the school. That's an easy thing to say. James Crumbley was a DoorDash driver, in case you're wondering what he did. The Crumbleys, who are charged with involuntary manslaughter, are being held on $50,000 or $500,000 cash surety bonds. So it's a big fat mess for sure. And then on top of all that, the students were returning to class for the first time. And so there's a picture of them returning to class. Under the cover of darkness and single-digit cold, Oxford High students returned to class. Both parents, and the buses were dropping off students who were greeted by what appeared to be school officials. There was a presence, too, of the sheriff's deputies. Some students wore lettered jackets. Another wore a short that read, "Everything about us is tough." There are 2 entrances students used to enter the building for the half day of sessions. It's the first day back for them after the November 30th shooting. There's 1,000 things that could have corrected this situation, obviously, but it would have just corrected this one situation. And as we learn more about Ethan Crumbley, you can see whenever you look at one of the first things they do is like, have you been torturing animals? When you look at the evidence that he was torturing animals, then unbelievably, you are held responsible for knowing that there's something deeply wrong with your child, and it's unfortunate and it's sad. So we need to be praying for these students that are having to go back into school. That's what I have to say. Heartbreaking. We need to be praying for these students that are having to go back into school. There was I'm switching gears now. There was a Christian who was forced out as a nurse because she wore a crucifix necklace. And she was saying, like, listen, there's other hospital staff who are wearing hijabs. They're going to mosque 4 times a day. And all I'm doing is wearing this cross. Somehow this cross is deemed dangerous. It's a job that I love. I think that's heartbreaking. This is in South London. Among Mary's most prized possessions is a small gold cross necklace that she has worn around her neck every day since childhood. It's a symbol of this 61-year-old's devout faith. She says, every time that I look at it, I think of Jesus' love, how much he loved me, and the need for me to love him back. And there's a picture of her, holding up that cross. Few could be, fail to be moved by the sincerity of her sentiments in those statements. And Mary's employers at the South London Hospital, where she has worked as a theater practitioner for 19 years, took a different view. They asked her to remove the cross. It's a present she received at her baptism as a child. Here's another picture of her. Mary was told that the necklace harbored bacteria, but she believes she was targeted because she was wearing a display of her Christian faith, even though many colleagues were allowed to sport other items expressing their religious beliefs, such as turbans, hijabs, or bracelets. On one occasion, a manager even called her away from her nursing duties in an operating theater in the middle of surgery to discipline her for wearing potentially risking safety, is what they said. When she refused to take it off, they moved her to clerical duties, and she became subject to what she describes as a sustained campaign of bullying that left her unable to work. Having been signed off with stress, last October, she decided to sue the hospital on grounds of harassment, victimization, and discrimination. Her case ended in a victory for her. The judge said that she had been constructively dismissed in a way that was both unfair and discriminatory. He said the trust had created a humiliating, hostile, and threatening environment. In a vindication, although a bittersweet one, Mary believes that the case exposes the hostility and discrimination many Christians face. She says, "This is an attack on my faith. This cross has been with me for more than 40 years. At this hospital, there's members of the staff who go to a mosque 4 times a day. No one says anything to them. Hindus wear red bracelets on their wrists, and female Muslims wear hijabs in theater. Yet my small cross around my neck was deemed so dangerous that I was no longer allowed to do my job." It's a turn of events that has astonished a woman who believed she was coming to a free country when she arrived in Britain from Nigeria in 1988 to pursue her dream of becoming a nurse. She said, "I'm a strong woman, but I've been treated like a criminal." We're seeing this kind of thing more frequently, for sure. Without a shadow of a doubt, this kind of thing, United States, Canada, United Kingdom, is becoming much more frequent. And my heart breaks for her. She lost her job. She had to take him to court. She ended up winning the case. But at that time, a lot of the damage is already done. Here's the next story I wanted to share with you and get your thoughts on.
Doctors with the University of Maryland Medicine say the transplant shows a heart from a genetically modified animal can function in the human body without immediate rejection. The patient, David Bennett, was ineligible for a human heart transplant. For a month and a half, he had been hooked up to a machine at the University of Maryland Medical Center just to survive. Doctors say the experimental procedure came with unknown risks and benefits. So far, doctors say although Bennett is doing okay now, attacks on the pig heart by his immune system could come down the road. With a huge shortage of human organs donated for transplant, doctors say this could change the face of the future.
A number of the organs can be treated, and used in this way from an animal. If that's true, we will obviously change the face of what's possible for people who now wait years for a heart transplant.
So essentially what they did was they took a pig's heart and they put it into this guy. Do you think that's weird? Am I the only one that has a problem with that? In a medical first, doctors transplanted a pig heart into a patient as a last-ditch effort to save his life. I guess if it's the only thing that's going to work, right? It was an experimental surgery. It's soon to know how well it's working, but it marks decades-long deep research into using animal organs as life-saving transplants. They did it at the University of Maryland Medical Center, and they were asking the question, can a genetically modified animal function in the human body without immediate rejection? The patient is a 57-year-old Maryland handyman named David Bennett, and he knew that there was no guarantee that the experiment would work, but he was dying and he was ineligible for a human heart, so he had no other option. It was either die or do this transplant. He says, I want to live. I know it's a shot in the dark, but it's my last choice. That was what he was saying the day before the surgery. And on Monday, Bennett was breathing on his own while still connected to the heart-lung machine to help his new heart. The next few weeks will be critical as Bennett recovers from the surgery and doctors carefully monitor how well this heart is faring. There's a huge shortage of human organs donated for transplant, driving scientists to figure out how to use animal organs instead. Last year, there were over 3,800 heart transplants in the United States, which was a record. If this works, there will be an endless supply of organs for patients who are suffering. I think you can characterize it as a watershed event, is what the UNOS medical officer said. The FDA, which oversees these experiments, allowed the surgery under what's called a compassionate use. Rushing into animal to human transplants without this information would not be advisable. So for me, it was just a little strange situation. Definitely felt very weird, you know, like if you're going to die, then I guess like whatever, try it. So I don't know. I have a bad feeling about it. There's a vibe about it that I don't feel comfortable with. And I hope that man survives and that's that. But at this case, it's unknown really if that's going to happen. There's another missing woman in Moab I wanted to bring out to today. According to the Grand County Sheriff's Office, a missing person named Jolene Marshall was last heard from on February 7th. Jolene's approximately 50 years old with short brown hair, wearing a long red-colored wig and weighs approximately 170 pounds. She may be driving a 2015 Jeep Wrangler with the Utah license plates. Oh, I just checked the Grand County's website. They found her safe. So that's great news. Found her safe. Good news. Jolene has been located safe. Okay, good. That's great. Okay. Well, I wanted to share with you guys just a brief commercial. If you go to topflow.com/merch, there's free shipping, and it's going to be on there for the next 3 days. And we have some great new shirts available. Miracles design, Don't Stop Feller Fam design. And I just want to encourage you to go to tylerfellow.com/merch and just encourage you to be a part of that because it's not very often, and I don't control whenever free shipping pops up. And so the fact that it gave us free shipping, that's a good thing. And I wish I had already ordered my stuff off. I order it the same way you guys do, have the same website. And unfortunately, I didn't get free shipping because I didn't know. I don't control when they put it out there. And so YouTube does something and they put it out there occasionally. And the free shipping, they put it out there. And so what a blessing. I would encourage you, pick up that while free shipping is available. And then today we're going to have Beginnings Class 301. You can go to Beginnings Class or tylerfellow.com/class or just hover over Beginnings Class. And you need to take 101 and 201 before you can go to 301. But 301 is going to be an amazing time. And then I just want to encourage you, if you enjoyed this channel, if you get value from it, I want to just encourage you, send a super chat. I want to encourage you to Donate on my website, tellerflow.com/give. You can just click donate today. You can send a PayPal, a Venmo, a Cash App. I especially love Cash App because they don't do any fees and stuff. So I just wanted to encourage you guys to be able to do that. We're going to have class tonight at 6:30. You're going to get the link via email. So, that's the only way that you can be a part of it. You got to sign up and you'll get sent out via email. That's it. That's the only way. It's the only option. It's not going to be, it's unlisted. So the general population is not going to be able to be part of it. Okay. Jenna says, Tyler, can you answer member questions from time to time? Sure. I think I do that on the producer level and upstreams, or I try to do that. It's definitely a more casual environment for sure. So I don't know what question you have. I keep seeing the question about Summer Wells continue to pop up. And I feel like I've answered that many times. I'm not saying that's what you're asking about, but anyways, there's lots of other channels covering Summer Wells. So if somebody's interested in that, they can watch it on a different channel. Okay. Thanks, guys. I might do a stream later tonight. I'm not sure. I kind of want to go deeper in the Jason Landry stuff. Maybe I'll reach out to Kent and see. But anyways, have a great afternoon.